Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with a daily technical update. It is Thursday the 16th of October. This video is for educational purposes only. There's no recommendation or advice whatsoever intended. It is purely to demonstrate how I try to read the market using technical analysis, how I apply indicators and such, and to demonstrate how you can use the too. I do apologize about my voice. I still have a little bit of a cold. So it affects my voice and my throat and lungs and everything. All right, let's start with Nvidia. That a few days ago, actually here last week, experienced a new all-time high, but followed by a massive sell-off. It has been continued 2 days in a row where market opened higher, but than the previous day, but again ended with a sell-off. So what is actually interesting is also, I mean, first of all, you have a bearish engulfing-like pattern here where it has taken out the previous day's bullish market, and also here on the weekly, and let's just have a closer look. We also have a bearish engulfing where it takes out that candle there, where you're only looking at bodies. We have this shooting star-like pattern there, shooting star candle. And if market closes this week, meaning tomorrow, below 187.62, 180 spot 38, the opening of this candle here, if it closed below, then we have a top and reversal in place. We already have some warning signs saying that market has been stressed. There's divergence, as you can see here on the RSI, declining. Market moved higher, so maybe we could be in for a correction. Could be a little bit larger one. Let's see if it takes out 164, then if we could be in for even a more rough ride. So let's see about that. On the index itself, Nasdaq 100, well, higher yesterday, but not that convincing. But we have the support here, 24,186, and it's basically 23,969, which are key. But also here we have a divergence on the RSI. We have that on more or less all the US indices here pre-market. We are up a little bit, so for now, still fairly positive market. So we could stay above here, but we are in October, and we will soon see earnings coming in, so we could see some volatility. Moving on to the S&P 500, more or less the same picture really there. Key support 6,550. Dow Jones that actually closed below its minor support there, actually established kind of a downtrend, but it hasn't been confirmed just yet, and now trying to get back above this rising trend line here. So that will be key the next few days, whether it can get back above it and resume uptrend, or it will slide back. And if it takes out the lows here, and we can actually add a horizontal line right there at 45,470, if it takes out that, then we have a confirmed bearish trend. In Asia, Seng is trying to get back above 26,000, spiking above a couple of times, but it needs to close above just to have a chance to resume uptrend. Let's move this one. We actually do have now a bit of a downtrend, negative sentiment. Could drop to test around the 25,000 area here, where we have the 55 moving at, no, the 100 moving average coming up, but it needs to close back above 26 to try to get back bullish. Nikkei, strong bounce despite the fact it closed this gap there. So could take out the peak here the next few days. I wouldn't be surprised if it does that, and then it starts pushing towards 50,000, and that will be a big thing if it does that. However, if it slides back below the low there at 45,190, well, the downtrend has been confirmed. The EuroStoxx50, strong bounce after dipping below the support there. Not the strongest support. In reality, the stronger support, I should have done that. It is actually where the closing price was. You can see here twice, more or less around these levels here at 5,488. Closing prices are the most important ones, and you can see it dip down to and then bounced. And then, so it's still in a bullish trend, and I don't think there's really not much divergence. We're still in positive sentiment, could bounce there, so keep an eye on that on next few days. Pre-market Oh, market has opened, sorry. So we are basically unchanged today. DAX a little bit weak here, was also weak yesterday despite opening higher. So challenging this 24,113 and the 55 and 100 moving average and the cloud area. So keep an eye. If it slides back below the cloud, well, then we could have a complete different situation. But I think it might bounce there. But I need confirmation. And if it takes out the peak from yesterday, I think we could maybe see a resuming uptrend. But we have the top reversal pattern here in place, so a little bit of a limbo, I would say. Excuse me. Euro dollar flirting with this 116.45. It's not a strong resistance really, but we have the 100 moving average adding to that resistance strength, also just above the 55 moving average, and the top of the cloud needs to close above both, and moving above 117 could be the thing that would push it higher, and especially if it takes out that 117.80, then uptrend has been established. But for now, negative sentiment, we are in a bearish trend, and I still believe it could slide lower. And I think if it slides back below 116, I think we will test the 115.18 there and possibly down to 114. Euro sterling has been sliding back, couldn't really sustain the bounce there. Still in this bouncing mode, but not convincing. So I think if it takes out these peaks here, and I will actually add a horizontal line right there, taking out that, I think that will establish and confirm bullish trend, and also if RSI closes back above 60 threshold. The sterling dollar cable trying to bounce there, but still in a bearish trend, lower low, lower high, lower low, and correction, and maybe then lower low down to 132 area, possibly a little bit lower. 200 moving average coming up there and giving some support. If it moves back above and close back above 135 and a quarter, bullish trend has been established. Dollar yen in a correction mode, still spiking about, hovering about 38.2 retracement, 150.70. Could bounce from it. We're still in positive sentiment, and I think we will see it resuming uptrend. Unless it takes out the lows today, then we could see a push down to around 149.13, 15 area down here. But we have some stronger support, and let me just add that. See, in this region around here, we can see very strong support there at 149, 149.10. Euro yen hovering around the 38.2 retracement, 175.75. Still positive sentiment on the RSI, no divergence, indicating likely higher levels, but I need to see it crawling higher here towards the previous peak there. And if it does, then I think I also would take it out and push above 178. But keep an eye on, still trying to, there are sellers that are trying to push lower here. We have also yen that are also trying to push lower this morning, but buyers coming back in. I think it will bounce unless it takes out the lows today. Then we are looking at below 97, possibly lower. But I think we will see a bounce. Sterling yen, same picture really, but it dipped down to the 50% at 200 spot 40, and could bounce unless it takes out that low there at 200 spot 30. Well, then we are looking at 200 spot 47.50, possibly down to 199. Aussie dollar spiked below this minor support there to actually below 64.50. Could bounce, let's see about that, but we're negative sentiment, but could bounce there if it starts crawling back above the cloud and back above the 55 moving average. Well, then there is bouncing potential, but we are in a bearish trend, lower low, lower high, lower low. Let's see what it could be. I actually thought it was about to slide back and maybe dipping down to this area around here, 64 and a quarter, 64.15, these lows here, and the 200 moving average can still do it, but this spike down there maybe proves that it won't do it. Let's see. So what I will do now is that I will say, okay, from here to here, well, could bounce up to the 61.8, and if it can stay above there, then and above the 55 and 100 moving average, then it could resume uptrend or establish a bullish trend. Dollar Canada pausing a little bit, spiked up there and then pausing a little. Maybe we are in for a bit of correction where it slides back to around the 200 moving average. Maybe even challenge this support there at 139.30. I'm not quite convinced that it will do that. We could see it sliding back and then we could see the next move higher. If it takes out the spike up there from, when was that? That's the 14th. Then there is potential much higher, and then we're up here in the fast area towards 140. Sterling Canada flirting with the resistance there, key resistance 188, 40, 45. Spiked a little bit above. We are in a positive sentiment, so it could push higher. So if it takes out a second time, takes out the spike today, then I think we'll see that push up, and then we can actually guesstimate after the latest move here, where could it move to? Possibly 189.45, possibly up to around 190. Euro Swiss has twice, 2 days in a row now, tested the support and lows there at 92, 67, 65, bouncing, and I think maybe bouncing a little bit. If it takes out the lows lows today, then I think we will see it dropping down to the levels down here around, and let's just add that horizontal line around these levels here, 92 area. We are in a bearish trend already, negative sentiment, so I think it will get down there eventually, but it's just about maybe a little bit of bounce there first. Dollar Swiss. Oh, we need to zoom in so we can actually see what's really going on here. Excuse me. Back to testing the falling trend line there, dip below the 50%, almost down to the 61.8 retracement, and the support here at 97.25, 79, sorry, and a quarter. That will be key, but I think it will bounce and then we'll try to get back up there. So really at a crossroad at the moment. If it takes out and especially close below 79.25, then we could have a down trend established. Moving on to the dollar index, also setting back after reaching the 786 retracement here at 99.15 and a little bit. You will see it can't really get away from it. So now setting back. So what I will do, I will actually add a Fibonacci to the uptrend and see maybe there are some levels on the other side. And here we have 38.2, dip just very close to it, dip below this minor support there at 98.727, just around the rising trend line there. If it takes out the lows today, then I think we could see it sliding back lower towards the 97.58 possibly, but there's some strong support in this area here. Gold still keeps going higher, almost without any corrections, but at least 39.44 stays above that. Well, then we are pushing higher, and we are in a massive bubble, but it can continue. See, it's almost more than 200% above here. So really, it's hard to establish or hard to predict a peak. Just about keeping an eye on what's really going on. And for now, it seems to only buyers out there. Slightly divergence building up there on the daily, so a little bit stretched, I would say, but it's been like that for quite some time. Silver. Maybe it is a little bit stretched here now, but still positive sentiment. There's a slight diversion. You can see this peak there is lower than this one, but this peak there is lower than higher than here. So we have a little bit of a trend exhaust indication, but for now, see almost without any correction. That is really interesting and key to watch. So be careful if you are long, especially if you are newcomers to having a long position. I wouldn't do it at the moment. It's just so darn hard. Suddenly we could see a massive correction, but I need a top and reversal pattern in place. I don't have that at the moment. Platinum can't really keep up. It's just been trading sideways more or less, but with higher and higher closes lately. Still potential higher though, but it is also quite stressed. You can see the peaks here are lower, are indicating on the RSI are declining, where the market highs are also a bit stretched there on platinum, but it could still move higher, I wouldn't dare to have a short position. It would definitely, if I did, I would have a stop up here, just a few pips, a few dollars above the peak there. Copper, yeah, as we talked about so many times the past week or so, couldn't close above 515, which is key. So it's caught down here in this area around 500, and it really needs to close above 515 to push high. I think it will do it eventually, but not at the moment. But positive sentiment on the R side still indicates it could do it, but I need confirmation. On the energy side, WTI crude oil. Let's see, there we are. WTI crude oil bearish trend could slide lower to $55. Expect some corrections, but we are in a bearish trend. Negative sentiment indicating likely lower levels both on daily and weekly chart. Brent crude oil, basically same picture, of course, and $60 is likely possibly down to these lows here, back from April and May earlier this year. On the DOTS, nat gas, European nat gas, we have maybe a rising trend-like pattern that is actually testing, but horizontal lines are usually stronger, so we have some support here just around 30 spot 73. Could test it, but we are basically range bound with a slightly bearish undertone, negative sentiment, so lower lows are here. So it needs to break out at this range here of 33.90 to the upside. US nat gas dipped to the 786 retracement. First it was the 61.8, but it couldn't get back up again, so it continued lower, almost dipped down there. I think now it will bounce. We're still positive sentiment. RSI has possibly tested the 40 threshold during the dip here yesterday. Let's see if it starts crawling back above the cloud here and back above. What are we talking about? We're talking about the 320 area. Then I think optimal soon. But look at this. We have the 100 and 200 moving average declining, so they're kind of putting a pressure on it, and I wouldn't be surprised if we actually do slide lower after a little bit of correction. Moving on to treasury yields and the US 10-year treasury yields, flirting with the 4%. So did it dip below? No, it almost 4%. It touched it, could dip below there. And if we're looking at the weekly chart, we can see we are in a bearish trend, lower, 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 high, and same here. So that would be key here. If it takes out that 399, it was actually, then we could see lower levels. And I wouldn't be surprised if that plays out. You can see all moving averages declining on the daily. The 100 on the weekly is declining. 55 still holding on a little bit. So, but we are in a bearish trend, lower lows and lower highs and lower lows. So yields are not the ones that will kill off the stock market, right? Not at the moment, at least. Moving on to the European yields, we have also lower yields here in Europe. We could be set for a move down to around 255, possibly lower. It's not the strongest support, but nevertheless, there is a support. And we could see a bounce from this area. A little bit stressed there, but I think we will see it sliding lower. UK, that also had dropped here the past few days. Really strong drop. Let's remove this one because it's obsolete now. Testing the medium-term rising trend line there. And we have some support here in the region around 450 that could be tested if it takes out the lows for yesterday. That when we could have it tested. Japanese, we have to zoom in a little bit too because it's a little bit cluttered there. So we have, excuse me, just around the 38.2 retracement, still in a bullish trend, higher highs, higher lows, unless it takes out 160 here, then we have suddenly possibly bearish trends being established. Finally, cryptos, sell off here the past few days, but still keeping itself above 107,000 on the Bitcoin, and Ethereum still also. It is actually has established the bearish trend with lower lows. Will also have a new lower high and confirm that. let's see a little bit of a limbo. It's not a clear sign on the cryptos at the moment, so sometimes I won't speculate. It's really hard to read at the moment. What will it do? However, if it takes out the 4,300, then I think we'll see uptrend resuming. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day and talk to you again tomorrow.